guys. I hope I am live and you can hear me loud and clear. Hello, 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 hello. Hello guys, can you hear me? I think the screen might be visible by now. Uh, am I audible? Like the sound is clear and loud and clear? Okay, is it visible now? Like the sound is clear, like everything is fine? Okay, so let's wait for a while, and till then you can tell me like from where you are, and after you are completed, like I can start with my introduction and what we'll be covering through the bootcamp. So yeah, please let me know like from where you belong and where you study or where you work, and then we'll be talking about this bootcamp as well. Sorry, there was some technical problem, that's why uh, there was some issue, so I have to like pause the video for a while. Okay, is it low? Like the volume is low? Okay, the volume must be fine by now. So is it better now? Can you tell me? Hello, hello, hello. Let me check the live stream actually. Is it better now? Can you tell me? Okay, I think it's working. Okay, yeah, so I'm audible now. So can you tell me like from where you are, then we can start with our boot camp and also introduction to myself as well. No, video must not be frozen. Okay, video is frozen. Okay, leave it for this time. Okay, what's the issue with my video? Okay, I think I'm back with my video. Yeah. Okay, so we are talking about modern web application hacking. So what do you understand by hacking? Can you tell me in the chat? I'm looking into the chat. So let me write it down on in one note. So what you really mean by hacking? I hope it works. Because I have recently formatted my machine and yeah. Okay, so here we are for it's close, I don't know. Let's just talk. Okay, finding vulnerability and exploit that vulnerability for benefit. Hacking is bypassing security architecture of a website or a page. Okay, what else? It can be ethical, which can be used to improve the application. Definitely getting into something unofficially, not really, because ethical hacking itself says that you are doing whatever you are doing it ethical, so it's not unofficially. because there is a huge difference between ethical hacking and normal unethical hacking, you can say. Okay, so about me, my name is Harsh Akshit. You can also connect me over LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn ID. So about me, right now I am interning with Synopsys as a security consultant intern. I've also worked with various other companies as well in for their security. As well as I'm also featured in Google Hall of Fame for reporting a security vulnerability. And yeah, recently I've been also selected as a AWS community builder. So if you want to know more about AWS community builder, you can just reach out to me, or you can just search it on Google itself. So you can get connected with me over LinkedIn. Apart from this, I am really passionate about traveling as well, so you can also connect with me on Instagram. So this is my Instagram ID, so instagram.com/explorers. So that's me. So yeah, so that's a bit about me. So how many of you are student and how many of you are working professionals? Okay, so let me tell you about what ethical hacking actually means. So suppose uh, you ethical hacking means, so you are a hacker but you really don't want to indulge in any kind of uh, illegal stuffs. So what you do, you take a formal you can say a formal uh, permission from a particular company, and you tell them that yeah, let's do a contract that I will work for you. I will find out the security loopholes in your company's IT infrastructure, and I will report it to you. So the hacker goes on and start penetrating uh, their IT infrastructure, and whatever security flaws he or she come across, that is being reported to the company itself. So that's in a way like it actually benefits the company as well as the hacker. The hacker gets paid and the company actually gets saved from any other cyber attacks. So that is a bit of explanation about ethical hacking, and that what we'll be learning in most of what we'll be actually learning in this bootcamp. My LinkedIn details. Okay, on LinkedIn you can find me with like so this is my LinkedIn ID, and on Instagram again you can find me with Explorer. Apart from this, I am also available on Twitter. If you want to learn about security, I just keep tweeting about security on Twitter. So again on Twitter you will find me with the same user ID Explorer. So yeah, even you can follow me on Twitter if you are on Twitter. So yeah, so that is what. Now security has like various domains. You can talk in today's scenario, you can talk about different kinds of security: web application security, then there is cloud security. So ethical hacking is just an introduction to this cyber security world, and then there are like a lot of expertise you can gain in particular domain like cloud security and web application security, as I said. So there might be a delay of a few seconds, so don't worry about that. So do you have any question before I continue? You can ask the questions in the chat, and then we can start with okay. So what are like when you are actually starting with hacking, what are the 5 steps of hacking? Can you tell me? What are the criteria for certificates? I will be telling about certificate. I will be telling more about the certificate later. So let's focus on the bootcamp for now. Which one is best, Kali Linux or Black Arc? You can go with Kali Linux because it actually comes preloaded with various ethical hacking tools. Okay, that's a good question, Jacob. Hey, sir, is any prerequisite knowledge required, or as a beginner, it's fine. So, what's the prerequisite starting with ethical hacking? So, let me tell you about this prerequisites. So, what do you think? Like, could be the prerequisite? Any idea? So, what could be the prerequisite according to you? Prerequisite. I hope the spelling is correct for prerequisite. Number one, definitely you must know, you must, or it will be advantage for you to have a knowledge of any particular programming language, most preferably any scripting language like Python, for example, because you know Python, how versatile this language is, right? So go with learning Python, and it's, you know, like it's really easy to learn Python. So Python, a programming language, definitely you must have the knowledge of a programming language. Programming language. And why? Like Python is used to create scripts for scripting, you can say. Then what else? You are going to hack a particular web architecture or IT infrastructure, right? So what you must be knowing, like before actually hacking it? What do you think? Should we be good in problem solving skill? No, not really, but yeah, definitely it's an advantage for you if you know that as well. Apart from this, the second prerequisite is networking skills. Networking. Networking skills. So what does networking means? So it is it revolves around IP addresses, DNS, and what else? There are many like topics inside networking. So IP addresses, DNS, MAC address, then many are there. So you must know like how, so using this networking skills, you actually know like how the data flows from one machine to another machine. So that's why networking skills are very relevant, and you must definitely have the knowledge of networking skills. The second thing, what could be the third thing according to you? third third thing, yeah, OSI model that comes under, yeah, definitely Linux, because most hacking tools run on Linux. So Linux, you must know, most preferably Kali Linux. It is one of the flavors of Linux, Kali Linux. And what else? No, you don't really need to know algorithms. The most one of the most important thing is how thing works. Okay, how thing works. Do you know what this means? You want, like, anyone, like most of them won't tell you why this is important, how thing works. Networking is good, like it will tell you like how the data flow from one system to another. Right now I am streaming through YouTube, so mine right now the data is going to the YouTube server, and then it is being streamed onto your machines, right? So yeah, so how does really this thing works? So for example, we'll be also talking about web architecture. Okay, web architecture, and also like AWS as well. AWS, so it is a cloud platform. Do you know like what's cloud platform or cloud services, you can say? Initially you don't need to know about cryptography. So anything more you want to ask? Yeah, so definitely we need to know about how thing works. Like for example, like there is a vulnerability known as SQL injection. So it is used to actually transfer data from the front end to the back end, and how we can actually manipulate the SQL queries to actually gain access to the database. So yeah, so that is one thing. So these are the things we'll be actually focusing upon today, not today, like during this boot camp. Now the question is, why networking skills? And do you know what is an IP address? Any idea about IP addresses? There is nothing known as best software for hacking. You must like have the knowledge of Linux and the tool that is associated with Linux. Yeah, the cloud is basically where it is actually someone other's computer, so where you can actually virtually store your data and also access it through the internet. So what is IP address? Any idea like what is an IP address? What is an IP address? What's an IP address? Can you tell me? Okay, so just like how you talk on your phone, like you want to call someone, how you call them? So you call them using phone numbers, right? So similarly there are two different machines, one is in another part of world, and there is one another machine that is in on other side of the world. So how they will actually talk? So using IP address. So how IP address looks like? For example, there are two types of IP, but here we are considering IPv4. So the IP address can look like something like this: 192.168.0.1. This is an example of IP address. Now Suppose you want to talk to some other machine, so can it have a same IP or not? Can you tell me? There is two different machine. One has IP address something like 192.168.0.1, and there is also another machine, but that does that machine can have this IP address or not, or a different IP address is required? Yes, IP address is a logical address. No, no, no. Someone says we can have same IP address. What about others? No, no. Okay. The answer is actually no. Just like you want to talk to someone on phone and you called them. So do can they have same phone number? No, right? So how will you call them? So they need to have a unique phone number. That's when you can actually call them. So similarly, uh, I can have this phone number, whatever my phone number is, and there is another phone number that is totally different from my phone number. So similarly, when one machine wants to talk with another machine, it will have a different IP address. For example, here it is 192.168.0.1. So the other IP address could be 192.168.0.2. Okay, so that's how it can talk. So it is a logical address, also it known as it is a logical address. There is one more thing that is known as MAC address. Okay, and MAC address is actually known as physical address. Can someone tell me like what is the difference between this logical address, that is IP address, and that is MAC address, that is the physical address? What is the difference between logical and the physical address? That's a good answer, Anandu PA, but definitely I will come on to that later. I hope the stream is working fine. Yeah, so MAC address, let me tell you about what is a MAC address and what is IP address, difference between them. So MAC address is just like your fingerprint. Okay, it can't be changed, right? And IP address, you can tell like it is just like your name, you can change your name. It is not like fixed to you, you can change, you can have a different name. Like went to a different place, I told them that my name is different, so they will believe you, right? But can you change your fingerprint? No, right? It is fixed. So you can say like logical address, whatever you say, that is going to be your name. So just like IP address is just like that, but MAC address is just like your fingerprint. So it is your name, you can say name, but this is going to be your fingerprint. Okay, and it is found on a device in your laptop or CPU, that is known as NIC, network interface card. So you will find the MAC address over there on NIC. uh, there are ways to change MAC address, but it's quite difficult, and it is not legal as well. So avoid doing such kind of stuffs. Okay, let's talk more about this. So MAC address, do you know like how MAC address looks like? It is more kind of alphanumeric. Just let me show you. Or you can also find like your IP address over here. So there is some command like yeah, so this displays something about us. So you can see like this is my IP address. So again I want to go in deep like why there is what is default gateway and what are like IPv4 and what is IPv6. So this is gateway, basically this is my IP address, and there must be my MAC address as well, I hope. If not, then I think we will be using a different command. That's IPv6. Okay. Okay, I think now the yeah. So this is my MAC address, physical address. So it's how it's C0B6 F9 F8 19 AC. Okay, it's quite tough to remember, but can you remember like the so how actually it developed? Like first the MAC address came. The first thing that came with computers were MAC address, and it was totally like alphanumeric. Alphanumeric. Then it was like people realized that it was quite tough to actually remember the MAC address, so they again introduced this IP address. So IP address has like just numbers, but again, can you remember the IP address of any other websites? Like, can you remember the IP? Can you tell me the IP address? You can go and just Google it and tell me like the IP address of uh, Google. But do you know like the IP address of Google server? No, right? So how do you remember the? How do you actually visit these websites? Google, Facebook, YouTube. How really the like you actually access them? Can you tell me? Let's see who gives me the right answer. I hope my voice is clear to you guys. Yes, gave the answer. DNS. Okay, so then came the system of DNS. Okay, DNS. DNS stands for domain name system. Domain name system. So just like you can't really remember the phone number of every person you know, you save them in your phone book, right, in your mobile phone. So similarly it is also known as phone book of internet. Phone book of internet. So now you just go to your phone book, select a name and dial that name, right? So that name, what is it? The phone knows like what that name is. No, right? It has the number behind it. So the name is then converted to number, and then the number is called, and you just talk to the people, right? Similarly, what this DNS do? It actually do the resolution of that particular domain name to that IP address. So suppose you went on and visit the google.com. So it will actually go and just give you the IP address of google.com. It is not going to just, it will in the browser, you will see like it is google.com, but in the back end it is actually in the DNS, it is actually being changed into the IP address. IP address of Google web server, IP address of Google web server. So yeah, so if we ping like Google, so yeah, but it is giving us IPv4. We want to know the IPv6. Okay, so that's we talked about till here. Do you have any doubt till now? Do you have any doubt? Do you have any doubt? Okay, so whoever have joined recently, so let me tell you about myself really quick. So my name is Harsh Akshit. Right now I'm interning with Synopsys as security consultant intern. Uh, like and Yeah, I've been like featured in Google's Hall of Fame for reporting a vulnerability in Google. Apart from this, I'm also AWS community builder. So this is some of my professional introduction. Apart from this, I'm really passionate about traveling as well. So you can also get me connected. You can also get connected with me on Instagram as well. So yeah, that's a bit about me. So bootcamp, it actually this is going to be a 7 days long bootcamp, 1 hour per day. So that's how this bootcamp is structured. We'll be talking and discussing various topics during this bootcamp related to ethical hacking. So again, I told about like there are different 5 stages of hacking. The first is actually information gathering. There are 5 stages of hacking. Someone told, right, in the chat, like what are the 5 stages of hacking. The first is information gathering, reconnaissance, scanning, gain access, maintain access, and cover tracks. So reconnaissance and scanning. Reconnaissance means you are actually gathering various information about the target. Then scanning, you are actually scanning. Again, this is a part of information gathering itself. And then gaining access. Then here actually you do the actual exploitation, attacking that particular target. Maintaining access, like whenever you have attacked, you have gained the access, now you need to maintain the access with the victim, so that you can actually whatever you want to do, like you want to download a data, then you have to keep access with them, right? Then definitely cover tracks. If you don't cover your tracks, you will eventually get caught, right? So these are the 5 phases of ethical hacking, or hacking, you can say. So first is reconnaissance. What are the different methods you can actually use to do the reconnaissance? Can you tell me any of this? Can you tell me like any of the tools that we can look upon while here? Okay, so let's look upon Whois. This is also a information gathering tool. So let's look upon Whois. So Whois actually tells you a lot of details about a particular domain. So let's look upon a particular domain. For example, let's look upon google.com. Let's see what details we can actually gather using google.com on google.com actually. So here it tells you about Mark Monitor is the registrar using which it has been registered. It was created in 15th of September 1997, and where it is going to expire, it is going to be expire on 13th of September 2028. Okay, there is like it's 2022, so after 6 years it's going to expire. These are some name servers. That is actually the DNS server for Google, and the IP address location is in Washington, Seattle, Google. Okay, now there are more relevant details. So one of the relevant details I came across is expiry, like when this domain is going to expire. Can you tell me like what really can happen with the expiring date of google.com's domain name? Any idea? Okay, so there was a case in Google Argentina that it expired, and for unfortunately Google actually forget to actually renew the domain name, and it was actually acquired by any other guy. So let me tell you, if you think that I'm wrong about this, then let me show you. Domain. So yeah, here is news from BBC. So Google Argentina's domain was bought by a man for €2. So you can see, and this is a guy who actually bought it for €2. Later like Google actually claimed it back, and definitely they have rewarded him like tons of money, right? So that is the domain takeover case of Google Argentina, and it actually happened in 2021. It's the news of last year itself, so it's almost 1 year. So it actually happened with Google, so it can actually happen with any other company as well. So that's why this is a very relevant detail expires. So you can keep a check on any particular target, like when it is going, like when the domain is going to expire, and suppose like you can go and claim it later. And in many cases you can even claim your not just the domain, you can actually even claim their web servers as well, and many web servers, email servers, and many things actually. There could be a huge impact if you just claim the you can just claim the domain itself. Okay, so that is what could be the impact, right? So that is a tool known as Whois. Okay, if you want, like I can share the link to you in the chat. So similarly, like there are many other tools as well. Now, can you tell me like what is subdomain of a particular domain? What is a subdomain? Because next thing we'll be going through is subdomain enumeration. Can you tell me like what's subdomain? Links inside a website. Not you can say the links inside a website. Subdivision of domain, no.